So yeah, microphone is here. I hope you can hear me well. And yeah, today's topic is about the 90-day challenges. So that was the topic of today's newsletter in the morning. So if you didn't read it, no worries. I will summarize this one in this video shortly. It is kind of like my own version of how I achieve goals, how I set goals, and also how I achieve goals, whether with ADHD or without. The system is actually from a neurotypical perspective, I think, and it comes from like a consulting area. So the main point is it was coming, actually the idea was coming from the book, The 12-Week Year, and the idea is to achieve 1 year's goal in just 12 weeks. And as a little story before actually that, the point, what happened actually with me was like, after my dad passed away 2023, a couple months in, it was 2024, I had no idea what I was doing with my life. So I kind of like struggled with purpose, with grief. I had like a lot of big goals I want to achieve, but I didn't really know how. Like my ADHD was kind of like really making it difficult to achieve my goals. And also the focus, the clarity, and all of these problems were like in my mind. And I had maybe 3 or 4 hours of focus a day while drinking coffee, and kind of like at 11 or 12, my mind was just like shutting down. And yeah, a couple months in, I was like, okay, kind of like I need some purpose. I need to have a specific goal. And I really want to achieve something that brings me way further in life, and maybe start a new company or something, because I was 1 year out of my company at this time. And yeah, I was reading the book, The 12-Week Year, and I got this crazy idea. It's like, hey, okay, I will just now try to build a personal brand or like a creator business in just 3 months. Like this will be the starting point, and then later on this will be maybe the foundation of my new business. And actually it did. Like the 12-week year, or the 12 weeks, which then turned to the 90-day challenge, was everything what you can see from me right now. So the entire personal brand, I'm like talking to you right into the camera. The threads, the 27,000 or something around that followers, the close to 4,000 email subscribers, all originally started with this 90-day challenge, which I'm going to talk about in today's weekly call. Okay, so first of all, I want to ask you a question, because I try to make it a bit more interactive, like a workshop. So I have a question for you. How long do your goals generally last? It can be a few days, a few weeks, maybe a few months, or you maybe never start. You don't really focus on any of your goals. Maybe you have some, but you don't really focus on that. So if you want, you can write it down in the comments. We can shortly talk about it right now, and then we continue with the presentation. Okay, a few months. Like if you want, like how many months is it really like going? Like, do you have like a burst of motivation or something? What is it really like? And also, what keeps you struggling? Is it that you kind of like lose motivation, you lose momentum, or you just don't achieve them? Like you don't have any little wins. I never really focus. Okay, I've had a range from a few days to even a few years. Wow, many. That's amazing. 1 to 3 usually. It only is longer if I have accountability. Okay, so maybe this challenge will help. So in my opinion, and I think it's not only for ADHD people, I think it's for people in general, that 12 months to achieve a goal is far too long. Like, sure, like you should have life goals. You should have like a 10-year goal where you want to be. Maybe you want to have kids, you want to live at the lake, at the mountains, you want to live, I don't know, in Canada, whatever, right? This might be your 10-year goal. But like, how are you going to achieve this goal, and how do you break it down? So in most cases, you have this 10-year goal, and maybe you have like a 3-year goal or 5-year goal, and you always try to break it down. And then people tell you on social media, oh, you need this, you need to have this 3-year goal, then you have this 1-year goal, and that's how you achieve your goals. But like 12 months is just too far. Like you have no urgency. Like what if you don't do anything what will happen? Probably nothing, right? Like, and then also like you will not have any quick wins. Like 1 year project or something is just too long. Like how many dopamine spikes are you going to achieve in this 12 months? It's probably not a lot, maybe every 3 or 4 months. And for an ADHD brain, I think this is really, really hard. And then also most goal setting for like an entire year is just too vague. Like some people say, oh, I want to meet my life partner in 1 year. But do you have a plan? And like, do you have a specific time frame? Do you have a specific action plan, what you want to do to achieve this specific goal? Like, hey, you want to meet your partner. Okay, are you going on events? Are you, I don't know, putting yourself out there to attract people or like-minded individuals? Are you living in the right area? Are you maybe isolating yourself? So what you really need in this thing is like a specific goal. Let's say you want to achieve X amount of money in X amount of time, or you want to have X amount of followers in X amount of time, right? So, and the 12-week year specifically talks about compressing this entire 12 months, kind of like every month is like a week, into this 12 week. And this actually should create this urgency, motivation, and momentum, which I will talk about a bit later. So generally, the idea is you have 84 days of execution towards a goal. So you kind of like push through and you have 84 days where you just don't think about anything else and you focus on this specific goal. And importantly, you only set one big goal. It's not like, oh, I buy something like a computer or whatever and that's it. Like you want to have one big goal where you think, okay, it might be a bit hard to achieve, but it is possible to achieve. For me in this example was starting a personal brand or making like a specific amount of money in just 3 months. This couldn't be from, I don't know, if you have like a sales career, which probably don't have, but this is a good thing to achieve a performance. Or the best thing in my opinion is like, hey, I want to achieve X amount of followers in 3 months. And then later on, you know how to kind of like sell and create a product. And the interesting thing, you can have this challenge 4 times a year. So you can actually achieve 4 big milestones in an entire year. So it's kind of like achieving 4 years in just 4 years and 4 goals in just 1 year. And what I did is, okay, hey, I thought like, okay, the calculation of 12 weeks doesn't really work that well. Like I need to like readjust it a bit. And then it kind of super random. I got on this like 90 days because it works mathematically quite well, because you have 84 days of focused execution and at the end you have 6 days of rest. And I think it's better to have a longer period of time to work strongly and then have kind of like a week of recovery. You could also do 2 weeks, but like I think 6 days is pretty good. Why? I will explain this one to you. So the simple math of the 90-day challenges is, as I said, 84 days of execution as the 12-week year, but you have 6 days of recovery. And in these 6 days, what you're also going to do, or I would recommend, better said, is you do a caffeine detox, a caffeine reset. Actually, you need 7 days for this caffeine reset. So I would just put like 1 day more when the challenge starts again. But like in 7 days, 7 to 9 days of caffeine detox where you don't drink any coffee, any matcha, any Coca-Cola, is you completely resets the threshold and the sensitivity of coffee. And kind of like, and then the first coffee sip, let's say on day 8 or day 9, hits you like crazy and pushes you into a deep state of flow. And then we have kind of like 3 months to use this coffee if you drink coffee or matcha or something, and then you can push through 3 months, and then the limit gets really high again, and then you detox again. And the interesting part is if you do a vacation, you recover, you do some leisure, you do some whatever, you plan a little 1 week vacation, you have maybe a week less work or something, you don't need to stop working, you have 1 week less of coffee, you kind of can really recover. then maybe you have another set of goals, or you can also go on vacation, however you want to do it. And another good thing why I think this 90-day challenge was really good when I was starting is you can do it 4 times a year, and then you have 360 days, which is actually kind of like suitable to most work careers, because most work careers have kind of like 29 days of like rest, vacation. I think it depends in which country you're living. It's probably between 20 to 30 days of vacation you can take per year. But it's kind of funny, like that my math calculation with the 90-day challenge, like, oh, well, it's kind of like a normal job, but you don't have like one big vacation. You have little 1 week vacation, which I actually prefer more, because if it's like too long, you kind of get out of this routine, and I actually really enjoy my routine. So when I was planning, so I'm planning actually my entire year based on these challenges, for example. So for example, challenge 1 is from January 1st to April 1st. And then you can see it April to June, June to September. And then the last one is from September 28 to December 21. And that's perfect because 21st December is kind of like exactly the time where Christmas is starting. Maybe you can still enjoy the Christmas market. Then you have New Year's, and then the New Year's starting, and then you're logging in again. That's kind of like the system I use for myself. I mean, you don't need to do it like 4 times a year. 3 times a year is totally fine as well. If you maybe want to have like a bit enjoying your time, not being too focused on goal setting or something, because sometimes it's also good to not have any goals and just enjoy maybe, I don't know, a time off, a vacation, whatever. Yeah, so what I would also recommend, or maybe something good what you can do right now is like, what would be something you're highly interested to achieve in the next 90 days? This could be a career, like a career step, maybe for your own business. This could be dating life. This could be losing weight. This could be training for a marathon. This can be, I don't know, starting a new hobby or something. What would be your 190-day goal right now for you? You would like to start anytime soon? Yeah, you can write it in the comments. You can also just think it for yourself, have it in the back of your mind, and it's like, yeah, I'm okay. This might be something in the future. And yeah, you just don't have 2 goals, 3 goals, or 4 goals. You only have 1 goal for the 90 days. You don't think about like, oh, I'm starting this. Oh, I'm losing weight. I'm starting a business, and I'm training for a marathon. Honestly, that's too much. Start with 1. Be specific. Create also maybe something where you can measure the results or the things, and also, like you can break the goal down into smaller steps, and also, yeah, restrict it really to these 90 days, not more and not less. Take the time, the 90 days. Getting a new job, okay, that's cool. 90 days starting from now on, exactly. In 90 days, I want to become freedom and independence with my business. Okay, that's a good. I need to say it's actually sometimes more difficult, but it depends about the experience you have, and it also depends what business you're going to start. Like a personal brand, for example, takes 6 to 12 months, like a content career, because it's quite difficult, I need to say. Like it took me so long to just really get any traction. Like that I get any more followers on Threads or any platform, YouTube, Instagram, or Threads, took me actually 8 months. Yeah, so if it's content, you might need to take a bit more time. If you just want to start a business, you want to do direct outreach to customers or companies, you have a specific offer for your business, maybe you're a photographer, you're a videographer, you already have a service you like to offer people, maybe it's graphic design, then it's pretty easy, in my opinion, to achieve it in 90 days. Getting a new job. Okay, like you can also tell me in which field you want to start. Getting a new job, is it like marketing? Is it graphic design? Is it human resources, etc.? Yeah, like you don't need to answer it, but yeah, if you want to, you can share it. And then maybe I can help you a bit with this thing. Okay, so people are still writing. Yeah, so how does it actually work? As I mentioned before, we have 3 to 4 years. we have one big specific goal we want to have. Let's take an example. We want to achieve 500 newsletter subscribers in 90 days. We have a specific and measurable result or goal we want to have. We can easily measure, okay, it needs to be 500. We can break it down into smaller steps. How many do I need to get every single week or every single month? And it's super specific. Hey, 90 days, I want to gain 500 newsletter subscribers. And then what we then want to do from this 90-day goal, we want to break it down into 3 monthly milestones. This means we break this bigger goal down from 500 newsletter subscribers into, for example, month 1, month 2, and month 3. Month 1 could be, for example, let's get the first 100. And then maybe it gets a bit faster. And then month 2 is like, okay, how can we double it, right? From 100 to maybe 200 in the next month. And then month 3 could be how to make it sustainable, how to start a business with it, how to bring the people from the social media into a funnel, or maybe building the first product. And what you then do is when you have these 3 little milestones or little goals for each little month, right? What you then do is you only focus on this 1 month. You kind of like you don't forget the big goal you want to achieve in the 90 days. Like imagine like you have the 90 days goals. That's pillar 1, okay, I need to do it this way. Pillar 1, pillar 2, and pillar 3. And we focus first on the pillar 1, and you don't worry about pillar 2 and pillar 3. You only focus on the one goal. So what is this one goal, this 1 month goal you want to achieve? It is getting your first 100 subscribers. You don't think about 200, 400, or what to scale. You just try to achieve in this 1 month these 100 subscribers. And then what you're going to do is you break this 1 month down into 4 weeks. These 4 weeks becomes singular projects, and every single week you only focus on this weekly project. So only what you need to do in this week. And from this specific project you have every single week, you're creating daily tasks. This could be 1 task, maybe 2 tasks, but you don't do more, because the more projects you put into your mind, the more distracted and scattered you get. Like for example, what I do is I write every single week only 2 newsletters, but not like 2 different topics. I only write about 1 topic. For example, this week is about strategic thinking, life planning, and goal setting, it's all the same, it's just strategic, right? And then I read and consume content like books, newsletters, articles, even a few YouTube videos, or I summarize things with Claude. So I know that this week is only going to talk about strategic thinking, right? In a creative way and whatever. Then I kind of like build this little little curriculum out, or like the little steps I want to write about, or I collect ideas and then put them all together into one note, which I will talk about at the end. Yeah, so as I said, break it into 3 monthly milestones. As I said before, build a foundation. What do you not need to test? What moves the needle? And what's the final proof? Like you can screenshot it, you can remember it, you can like type it down, but just really try to think, okay, how am I going to break this big goal down into 3 monthly smaller tasks, and then into smaller weekly projects, and then into daily tasks. What is the daily task you can do every single day to achieve this goal? For me, it's daily writing. It's every morning I write for 2 hours, and that's all it. That's what I want to focus every day, and the rest of work comes afterwards. Okay, so as mentioned in the beginning, we have the 4 different challenges every single year, and the interesting part is also that you have actually, it's kind of like in a business perspective as well, that you have Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, and that's kind of the same thing. I just created it as a challenge. For me, it was kind of like more interesting to put it into a challenge. It kind of like started to motivate me. And because I was kind of like lacking accountability, systems, focus, clarity, organization, and structure before, and then grief as well, I kind of needed a push. And then I started with this challenge, and then I made this challenge publicly, actually, with the 90-day challenges. And then people joined this public challenge, and then it turned into like a 7-day challenge, into a 30-day challenge, and now I have this 30-day ADHD clarity challenge as a cohort, for example. And I don't know, somehow these challenges perform pretty well on YouTube as well. They perform pretty well online. People were super interested in challenges. So I think it's an interesting perspective to change this quarterly goals, which everyone talks about, into challenges. And I know, I feel like it's kind of like a gamification, which really helped me a lot. Single mission for every week. Yeah, exactly. Nice ideas. Physical product launch and with a vendor and distributor. Okay. Just a physical product launch and okay, that's cool. Pocket journal, not urgent, but is there a link to slides? Yeah, I will send the slides later into Discord. There will also be a YouTube video version out of it. So slides with the camera version in 4K will be uploaded on YouTube in probably tomorrow or in 2 days, depends how long I need to edit it. And slides I will drop in probably tomorrow. Or I mean, I have the morning, so I will do it today. And for you, it's the next day. Okay, so open discussion. Are there any questions and reflection this one? So for example, what is the one goal you're committing to for your next 90 days? We answered that, or you maybe had this one in your mind already. What has stopped you from finishing goals before? That's something quite interesting. So what are your struggles to actually finish these goals? Like, was it kind of like you lost motivation, momentum, or you, like in my opinion, one of the bigger things is like if you don't really have little wins. I think you need little wins to keep yourself motivated. And if you don't have any wins, kind of like hard to really feel happy or something, because it feels like, oh, you don't achieve anything. Wait, I need to adjust from this one. Okay. Okay. What is your biggest fear about starting a 90-day challenge? Yeah, you can also write this one down. Is it okay not know what month 2, 3, and will? Actually, good question. Yes, yes. It is. Is it? So I'll just say it again. Is it good? Is it okay to not know what months 2 and 3 will look like until you've gotten through part of the first month? This is a really good question, and yes, there are a lot of creators. They say, hey, I only work on week 1, and then I see the progress I made in week 1, and then I adjust week 2 depending on the goals, achievements of the first week. So for example, you test for the first week, and then if it's successful or maybe not successful, you readjust for week 2. And then you kind of like have this little hierarchy going upwards, and you kind of like become better, not every day because it's sometimes difficult, but you become better every week. And also in terms of, super random example, but in terms of calorie tracking, people are super focused on, okay, I only should eat 2,000 calories a day, or only should eat 2,500 calories a day. But the thing is, on some days you sleep better, and on some days you sleep less good. Maybe you train more, you train less. Maybe you're more happy, less happy. And it makes you sometimes more anxious or stressed if you didn't achieve this exact outcome of, oh, I only ate 2,000 calories. Maybe you eat more, and then you feel bad about yourself. And it's better to see your entire week's progress and see, okay, how many calories am I allowed to eat for this whole week? Because some days you eat more, some days you're eating less, and you also decrease the stress you have in your body. So this might be an interesting example to see or to test out. Yeah, lost interest or motivation, or slept one day and just gave up. Yeah, that's why creating small wins is really beneficial, and also doing little steps. Like it's not about like, oh, I want to achieve this month's 100 followers or subscribers, it's just like maybe 10, maybe 50. And then you get this burst of dopamine after you achieve this little goal, right? I wanted a knowledge management system, but that's a whole challenge itself. Okay, well, that's actually the chaos to clarity stuff, what I'm talking about. But that's a whole challenge itself. So like the chaos to clarity cohort is exactly about my own knowledge management system, which calls chaos to clarity, and I built this one up for 18 months. So I've built the entire system for 18 months full time. Like that was, it wasn't my only focus at work, but it was my main focus. And I was investing every single day for 18 months, 2 hours every single morning at least for this knowledge management system. So if you're interested, you can join the challenge. It starts next week on the 12th of May. And the distraction. Advice for you: focus on one thing every day. It's okay. It's the answer to the other one. If creating brand content is a quest that might take at least a few 90-day blocks, how does it fit with other goals? If creating brand content is a quest that might take at least a few 90-day blocks, how does that fit with other goals? I would just say like you put like 1 hour of work every single day towards this goal, and then you have like other things, right? So let's say the one goal you want to achieve for the 90 days is writing every morning to start a newsletter, and then repurpose this newsletter into different content pieces. You can also have more. I mean, maybe you have a job, you want to start a business. I would always recommend like, hey, do 1 hour of work before your job, because that's more important. Because you are more important than working for your boss. Sorry to say that, but yourself, you as an own individual, you should take care of yourself first before going to a job and work for someone else. And if you can also, for example, have a weekend as a business. So, for example, you work 5 days a week, and then on a weekend, 4 hours a day, you work on your business. What if your brain says otherwise? Lol, sometimes my brain has a mind of its own. Yeah. In my opinion, the ADHD brain wants structure. Maybe it doesn't want structure, but it needs structure and organization. And for what I discovered is the better my routine is, the better my habits are, the better my system is, the better my structure and organization is, the better my ADHD brain functions. So kind of like you can imagine that you want to be in a structure. You want to be bound in this little routine because you feel safe, and also your nervous system feels safe. Something to consider. A knowledge system is only a tool connecting with your goals and adapt on your need. Just found on my personal experience. Yeah. For example, I built a Notion in the beginning in Cortex, and yet the tool helps me with specific database connections to trigger subconscious thinking and achieve these goals in my personal life. Focusing on small things, don't on the big vision. Focusing on small things, don't on the big vision. The big vision is the road, but every day is do just the little things connect to your vision. Yeah, your win is completing the mission of the day, just one. Yeah, that's true. The journey, it's more about the journey. So there's a little poem in Japan, or like they talk about this little poem in Japan, which is, "Oh snail, climb Mount Fuji, but slowly, slowly." And the idea behind this poem is you want to have such a big goal, climbing Mount Fuji. But as a snake, it might take a long time to achieve or to get on the top of Mount Fuji. And then you want to have this journey slowly, especially slowly, to enjoy this journey and this path. This is the most important thing. Like you really want to enjoy every single day of this journey, and actually you want to climb the highest mountain but actually never reach the top. This is the main goal, because the moment you reach the top, it can only go down from there. So it's best to never reach the mountain, always see it and have an infinite goal in life which keeps you motivated until the end of your life. And this is one of the best examples I've ever heard in my life. Okay. let's continue on the slide. So this is the last slide. I think this is the last. Yeah, this is the last slide. So this is, for example, how I'm doing it in Notion. This is part of my chaos to clarity. So on the right side, you can see there's 2026 Q2. It's quarter 2, like challenge 2, for example, and then week 6. That's what I'm right now. And the topic is about creative and strategic thinking, as I mentioned before. This is the week's topic. And the main focus for this week, as I mentioned, is creative and strategic thinking. And then the importance of this one is 5, like 5 stars or 5 emojis, color purple, which I will talk a bit later, which is the left side. It is kind of like the importance, like, okay, I will talk about this in a minute. And then for example, what I do in this week is like, I put everything, what I created this week, what I want to create, and what I need to do into this one single document as a Notion, as interconnected Notion databases. The point for this is, whatever document you're opening in Notion, you can see clearly in scanning little different connections. And these connections can trigger dopamine and also novelty and spike little triggers. I call it the Jimmy Neutron effect. So for me, the Jimmy Neutron effect is kind of like triggering little ideas inside of you to get this blast ideas, like, oh my God, that's what I need to do right now. And the more things you can trigger your subconscious mechanism, the more dopamine you actually get. And this is kind of called, or I call it, active curiosity. So the more triggers you get, the more curiosity you create, and the more motivated you kind of get. This works perfectly for me. So underneath you can see the newsletters I'm writing. So it's Design Your Life and Discover Childlike Wonders. This is the Saturday newsletter. Goal Setting with ADHD was a Wednesday, like today, for your time. And then my birthday emails and Chaos to Clarity emails. And then you can see as below is the parent tag. So you have, for example, 2026 Challenge 2. The goal of my Challenge 2 is building Creator Collective, which I will talk about way later. And then you can also see underneath is date. Okay, it's May 4th, which was my birthday, to May 10th. This is the timeline, this is the week. And then underneath is the progress. Okay, currently I'm in this progress and doing week 6. And then I have connections to the universe, which is my business ideas. And then mastery is my knowledge management system. So there's challenges, there's the game of please and no. There's instead of surviving, blah, blah, blah. And there's 22 more information. So I was writing 22 little documents that fill up my weekly newsletter. So far, and I just have Thursday, is I already wrote 22 little documents which creates the content for my 2 weekly newsletters. And then I have the tag base, I have the creators I might research, and I have YouTube content, etc. And what I also do is the importance of it. So for example, the most important thing I'm going to do this week is finishing the content, the newsletter. So the most important thing, which have 5 different goals, or like the DART thing, is finishing up this week creative and strategic thinking, the 2 newsletters, the content, and all of the stuff, all of the writing stuff. And the second importance is, for example, in pink. So you can see pink in this way is 4 stars, and then then you can see red, then it goes to orange and to yellow. And so when I open Notion, I know immediately, okay, color purple is the most important, color pink is the second important, color red is the third importance, color orange is the 4th, and yellow is the 5th. So it's the lowest one. It's the one which is not that important right now. Like life plan 6 to 12 months is not that important right now because I'm focusing on my business stuff, my writing, etc. But it's still something I want to do and keep in the back of my mind to collect and have ideas. Yeah, so this is kind of like my 90-day challenge goal setting in a nutshell. Explain it shortly. Yeah. And for Mengyu and some others, this will be part of Chaos to Clarity cohort, and then also becomes quite interactive, and then we all do it together in like a little 90-minute class. So yeah, questions?